As you can see behind me, blueberry farms dominate much of the agricultural landscape here in Coffs Harbour. The region has been described as Australia's blueberry capital, and all up, the state's north coast makes more than $250 million in revenue off its produce each year. But with that rapid growth comes increased community concern about the impacts of farming on local waterways.
We live in a high rainfall area and all the rows run directly straight into our river systems. So they act like gutters, and when the rain comes down, it collects all the chemical residue and dumps it into our river system.
The local council commissioned Southern Cross University to test for those potential impacts on one particular waterway. At Vukovic Creek, scientists found nitrogen levels were 50 to 800 times higher than recommended amounts at a quarter of the sites tested. Researchers say there's a clear link between the use of fertiliser on the nearby farms and the higher nitrogen levels in the creek.
Nitrogen pollution brings many concerns. One of them is eutrophication. You have algal blooms that are filled by the nitrogen. That algae dies, and during that process, oxygen is stripped out of the water. One of the consequences is that the algae can be toxic, and that can be a problem for swimmers downstream.
Executive Director of the Australian Blueberry Growers Association, Alex Smith, acknowledges the levels are high. He says 2 farms in the area have been identified for possibly using too much fertiliser.
We're going to work with those farms on improving their practices. Look, it comes down, it's not just an environmental issue, but it's also an economic issue for those farmers. No one likes to buy fertiliser and then have it wasted.
But south of Coffs Harbour, local resident Wendy Robson says more needs to be done. She wants creeks in her area tested as well.
Every creek that has a blueberry farm backing onto it should be concerned, because if there's 800% nitrate in the Vukovic Creek, what's there to say there's not here? We need to have testings in all our small creek systems that are affected by the blueberries.
Now, the report makes a number of recommendations. It says planting more mangroves in the creek systems will improve water quality. A proposal to build more dams to capture contaminated runoff before it reaches the waterways has also been floated with farmers. Vukovic, ABC News, Coffs Harbour.